Hello and welcome to Exploited, Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton and we come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, this show is all about crimes and technology. We developed this show because we wanted to be able to educate the public about crime and crime solving and how crimes are changing in our society. And that's what we're exactly going to do today. You see, right here in Riverside, we have had an horrific crime, absolutely horrific. And I want to share about this crime with you. First of all, not only is it tragic and it makes all of our hearts bleed, but there is much to learn about this. And, you know, it's a subject that we have been dealing with for a very long time. For those of you that are new to our show, this show is brought to you by an organization called Million Kids, Million. We're a small but mighty nonprofit. We've been doing this show now about, 5-6 years at least. At least 6 years. That's hard to believe. But we do this show because I want to be able to educate parents and grandparents and leaders of all kinds, civic leaders, church leaders, synagogue leaders, all kinds of individuals that can make a difference in crime in our society. But the only way to do that is to be able to educate the public all about how these crimes are changing. And we have had just one horrific crime in Riverside. So I'm going to start out with that. And then I want to take the time to share not only about this case, but about other similar cases and what we need to know so that we can keep our kids safe from predators. In fact, that's what this show and our organization is all about. If you want to learn more about these kinds of crimes on an ongoing basis, go to millionkids.org, Million, millionkids.org. Sign up for that newsletter. And while you're there, if you're a Facebook follower, please follow us on Facebook under Million Kids. I think it's called IE Million Kids for Inland Empire. However, we are a national organization. But while you're there, go to the groups of the search and look up Million Kids supporters and join, because I post cases on there all the time. I have now about 12, 14, 15 years of research on these cases. I serve as the training and outreach coordinator for the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. So I deal with real cases and how they changed. So if you go to Million Kids supporters and sign up, you will see where I go in and do a kind of a train the trainer kind of thing. It's absolutely free, but it is a great way for you to get more information on these kinds of cases. So with that, the headlines, there are many different headlines on this case, but the headlines run something like Riverside triple homicide suspect killed in pursuit shootout. Now that one is coming from a group called Newsbreak. Here's Press Enterprise. Suspect in killings of 3 family members in Riverside had catfished teen, according to the police and what the police say. Now, there are many, many different press releases on this. I've seen the original because I know folks over at Riverside Police Department. They're amazing, amazing people. I especially enjoy working with Ryan Railsback over there. And we do work with teens that, maybe need a little bit more direction. But this case is absolutely tragic. So the victims that were murdered or died or were killed, or we're not quite sure. We do know it's a homicide in there. The victims are Sharie and Mark Winek, Winek, if you have not already read about this. They were Sharie and Mark and their daughter, Booke Winek. Booke, I believe, is the mother of the young person that was being catfished. So let me back you up about how this happened. Somewhere along the line prior to this event, they had a young teenage girl who went online, and she met up with 28-year-old Austin Edwards. And he was connected to a police department. I have a photo of him. You can see that online if you want. At one point, he was a Virginia state trooper. Now, we believe that since then, he left that place of employment and went up to Washington State, but he was only there a few days before this event happened. And Edwards, now keep in mind, the victim, the young lady online, is in her early teens, and she hooks up with 28-year-old Austin Edwards. Now, this is a catfishing event. And if you don't know what that means, it basically, they pretend to be somebody they're not, which is very, very common all the time that this happens. And this girl and him began an online relationship. Now, my heart bleeds for the victim on this because the young girl, because I am certain she had no understanding of what was about to happen. And she is going to be dealing with this for the rest of her life. Somewhere along the line, Mr. Edwards came out from Virginia, and he went to these people's house. He had apparently gone online and figured out where the girl lived. And he came down, he parked his car in the neighbor's driveway, and he walked over to the teen's house before murdering her grandfather, her grandmother, and her mother. The fire department was called because there was fire going on. There was scenes of her on camera, somebody's video camera, her leaving the property. It looked as if she was leaving maybe forcibly. She wasn't wearing shoes. She left with him. And then ultimately, he was spotted out by Needles, out in the middle of the desert with her. I'm looking for that wording on here now. And the police saw this. He's in a red Kia Soul in the desert town of Kelso. Kelso, it wasn't Needles as they originally reported. And so a pursuit ensued. Helicopters came, shots were fired before it was over. He lost control at the end of the pursuit, and he drove off the road. Now, somehow the girl got out, and she was okay. She was rescued, but this individual, Mr. Edwards, was killed by the police in the course of the pursuit. Now, I want to share this case with you because many of you that have followed this show know that we have been dealing with social media online exploitation as well as sextortion for about 6 years now. In fact, I spent the last 6 years raising the money for a movie called Sextortion, The Hidden Pandemic. By the way, you can see that movie now. It is live streamed just about everywhere. Do you want to see the trailer or find out where it's live streamed? Go to sextortionfilm.com, and it'll show you. I know it's at Amazon, I know it's at iTunes and Vimeo, and I think Apple TV and a few others. So Sextortion, The Hidden Pandemic, because this kind of crime has absolutely become a global crisis. Now, for us here in Riverside, it is a local crisis. It is really brought home. Because what happens in these cases takes many different turns. But I can absolutely reassure you that that young lady, when she went online and started talking to someone she didn't know, she would never be able to visualize that it would end in this situation. And neither would her family. That is one of the challenges of this crime, the sextortion, is few of us can understand just how deadly it is. It's harmful to the soul. It's harmful to the future. It's harmful to the families around us. It is truly a family crime. Now, in this case, it became a family murder, as it turned out. And it is absolutely tragic. When I saw this, my heart just bleeds for everybody involved. It is just so senseless. And we need, as parents, to sit down and start having dialogue with our kids. This is Opal Singleton. We're up against that break. We'll be right back.
Listen up, folks. You no longer have to drive out of the IE for a great restaurant experience. The Toasted Barrel, an upscale casual steakhouse located in Corona, has been winning award after award for their great diverse menu, service, ambience, wine, and cocktails. Customers call the Barrel the perfect date night. Inland Empire Magazine has awarded them Best Restaurant 4 years in a row. Wine Spectator recognized the Toasted Barrel's wine program for their award of excellence. Toasted Barrel is famous for their certified Angus beef, prime, Wagyu, and Kobe steaks, and they have some of the best pasta and seafood around. With happy hour and daily specials every day of the week, their appetizers and drink selections are the best around. Live music starts every Friday and Saturday at 5:30. Planning a dinner party, wedding rehearsal, family gathering, or holiday party? Look up Toasted Barrel online and make your reservation today.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of MillionKids.org. I believe the 4 most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. So we created a challenge coin that says, I believe in you on one side and stand tall, you are loved on the other side. This one-of-a-kind challenge coin is a perfect gift for birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, Christmas presents, or just an anytime gift for someone you love. What a powerful message for a parent or a grandparent to give to a young person. This 2-inch coin is made of polished gold. It's striking to look at, and it is priceless to hold. It is packaged in a beautiful black velvet gift box. What a great way to leave a legacy of love that will last forever. To purchase this coin, go to millionkids.org/gallery. Each coin is $25. Go to millionkids.org/gallery to purchase and give a legacy of love.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sellers and buyers recognize that these low interest rates will not last. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. We have been talking about this case of the triple homicide here in Riverside County and how a young girl went online and was catfished, and she had no way of understanding that someone who supposedly is clear across the country would actually drive out here, come into her life, take away her most personal and cherished relationships, her mother, her grandparents, her grandfather, and grandmother. If any of you know anything more about this, they are asking you to call in with leads. I'm going to give you the information here. This is the case of Mary Winek and Booke Winek. Okay. And in looking at this, also, I'm just trying to find one other name here. Oh, Mark. That it isn't Mary, excuse me. It is Sharie and Mark Winek and Booke Winek. If you know anything about it or the perpetrator, this perpetrator is from back east. His name is Austin Lee Edwards, and he was from North Chesterfield, Virginia. If you know anything more about this, the person that you contact is Detective Josh Ontko, Ontko, phone number 951-353-7135. Or you can write to JONTKO at riversideca.gov. I'll try to give you that at the end of this show. But I want to use this show to share with you exactly how all of this happens, because this is an absolute global crisis. This is why we called our movie Sextortion, the Hidden Pandemic. You see, this really at the heart of the matter is a book that I wrote. By the way, it's available at millionkids.org or Amazon. And it's called Societal Shift, A World Without Borders, A Home Without Walls. What does that mean? Well, I want you to think about this a minute. How did some creep from Virginia hook up with this young girl in California? It is because they're in a world without borders. It isn't just that pedophiles are down the street anymore. They can be in Belize. They can be in Nevada. They can be in Wisconsin. They can be anywhere at all. And so our kids, the minute they go online, are going to meet up with millions of people that literally they've never met before. And one of the things that Million Kids does is try to educate the public and you guys and all kinds of professionals about how this plays out. Because it isn't like the old days. We have to teach our children how to be able to maintain an online presence in a safe manner. When all this first started, it was like, well, you be careful on that thing now. And we did a little internet safety. But there are a few programs out that really define for parents and children about what the real world is all about once you go online. You see, right now, there are more than 5 billion people around the world connected by internet. So once your child goes online, it isn't like they just know the few people in Facebook. If they go on Kik or TikTok or Instagram or any of those kinds of things, they need to be able to evaluate what is happening. And that isn't being told. That literally, I'll share with you a case. I had a parent say to me, my daughter is on TikTok and she's doing very, very well. She has 1 million followers. Well, that's not all that many. I mean, I know a 3-year-old has 17 million. And that is how it's going to be. Our kids are going to live on technology. It is the next generation. And so we need to be able to have the dialogue with our children that they understand the world they live in. If this girl, which turned out to be 11 years old, had 1 million followers, at least 10,000 of them are pedophiles. And that young lady needs to understand that and see that visually before she ever goes online. Because how do you prepare an 11-year-old girl who wants to be famous on TikTok? How do you prepare her so that she can send out her data and want to be discovered or want to be an influencer? How do you prepare her to stand against 10,000 pedophiles, many of which offer to make her famous? And that is the world that our kids are living in. Well, pedophiles come in many different kinds of groups and individuals with many different motivations. And that's what Million Kids trains on. And I'll just share with you, because I've been really, really heavy-hearted, and then this case come up. I am starting to develop my strategy for next year, because there's just a few of us, and we need all the support we can get financially. We have our work cut out for us next year, because sextortion is changing dramatically. And I'll share with you how here in a minute. But at the same time, California has legalized street prostitution, and that's going to take a lot of our resources. Well, one of our goals in our strategy is to get the word out about sextortion. You see, it started as individuals, like this individual. It's one person. She probably is not his only victim. He probably had other victims, but somehow this one seemed maybe a little more available and vulnerable, somebody he could come out and take control of her life and figure out and get her to tell enough information that he can figure out where she's at. So there are individuals that are doing this. There are groups of individuals that get to know each other. These are pedophiles who find each other online, and they form large-scale sextortion rings. that go against our children. I'll talk about that in the next couple of sections. And so in our movie, we have one girl who is talking and sharing that she was sextorted for almost 2 years. This man knew exactly where she lived. He showed her a picture of her mother, and her mother's house and where her mother were. He showed her all of that. In his case, he's demanding more photos. But what is happening in the end, she finds out this went on for 1.5 years before she finally told someone and asked for help. And this is one reason why I do what I do. We must start to teach our kids that the sooner they ask for help, the better they can solve this problem. The first thing is, let's hope they never do it in the first place, that they don't interact, they don't hook up with someone, they don't start sending photos, and they don't give out private information. But if they do, let's teach them that we're here for them and help them out. You see, this is getting so sophisticated. Your average kid doesn't know how to stand against it. And I would bet that's the case in this case. Our Sierra that was on our movie, in the end, they had sextorted her for over 1 year, knowing all her personal data. And in the end, it turned out to be 12 different men, and she did not know that. But it's getting worse, because one of the things we're starting to see is, now that the entire world is connected by internet, that these third world countries that have very poor teenagers, they will put the teenagers in a telemarketing room, and they work on commission, and they literally sit there and pretend to be a gorgeous hunk that's 15 years old, or a beautiful girl who's 14 or 15, and they begin to seduce your child. And the minute your child sends a photo, it turns ugly, because this is all about using third world countries and telemarketing centers to blackmail our kids. And they get absolutely ruthless. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, last month, 76% of the sextortion cases reported demanded money, and large amounts of it. In some cases, $3,500, $5,000. And these kids that are very bright, that are straight A students, that are gorgeous kids, that are very popular kids, will end up taking their own life before they tell somebody. They just panic. And in those cases, the parents don't even know there's a problem, because the kid panics so fast. We got to get out ahead of this, Mom and Dad. We need to start to set our kids down and address this. And we can help you with materials, with stories, and like that. You can get those by joining Million Kids and the Million Kids supporters group on Facebook, so that we can train you. This is Opal Singleton. Stick with us, okay? We're going to be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and I so much appreciate each and every one of you. You know, it's that time of year where people are all getting together in large groups, and I'm no different. And I will tell you, it just warms my soul when people come up and go, "Are you the Opal that's on the radio?" Yeah, well, probably, So, and it's just a wonderful thing to meet so many of you. And some of you are donors. And I can't tell you how important that is. We've got our work cut out for us next year. If you don't know and you haven't been following this show, I mean, between the fact that we've got the sextortion movie out there now, and we do have it to get into schools all across America, which just about I didn't bankrupt us, but I'll tell you, it took a lot of resources to get us out there, and it's out there. And I'm absolutely pleased to say that we completed that film, and it has been made into 10-minute segments for the classroom. But this sextortion business is absolutely accelerating to levels that we can't even believe. And just as I'm talking to you, we're seeing so many kids who are taking their own lives, or they get themselves in situations very similar to the one that we're talking about today, where it reaches some level of violence and destruction, and just absolutely destroys the victim and their family. This is a family crime. And we really have a lot to do. We have a lot to do because of combating trafficking, because, you know, the law SB 357 kicks in January 1st. We're already starting to see it because it has a clause in it that if you've ever been arrested for soliciting for prostitution, that all goes off your record. Or if you've been sentenced, or even if you're incarcerated, you will get out. And so the word is already on the street that we're seeing this accelerate already, and we're not even into January. We're seeing, a lot of your pimps from across the nation, the gangs are bringing their girls in. You're going to see this on the street. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you might Google SB 357. It rewrote the definition of prostitution for the state of California, and it basically says that law enforcement can no longer intervene if you're loitering, that word, anyway, loitering, for the solicitation of prostitution. It doesn't say if you're soliciting to buy or sell, by the way. So 2023 is stacking up to be a challenging year, and we're going to need all the resources we can. Hey, one of the ways, before I get back to this situation with sextortion, one of the ways that we've developed for fundraising is, and I believe there's a commercial here on the show about it, is that we've developed the challenge coin, the Million Kids Challenge coin, and it is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And it's a gold and blue. On one side, it says, "I believe in you." And on the other side, it says, "Stand tall, you are loved." And we developed these because we thought, what a great gift to give to your children and your grandchildren and your spouse at Christmas time. They're $25 in the gift box. Or if you write to me at Opal, OPAL, at millionkids.org, we can arrange for you to get them for $20 a piece without the gift box. But anyway, they're just absolutely gorgeous. And we're doing this for a fundraiser. I don't, beat around the bush. Without money, we can't work. So we developed this to do, but I also did it because I think what an important legacy. I had some events in my life this year where I lost my stepdaughter to COVID, and we were together 48 years. And I suddenly realized just how just cherished life is. And I thought, what a valued gift to give to those in my family, that one day when I'm gone, they'll know that I believed in them. And it's a lifetime gift. The thing is just absolutely gorgeous. So if you're interested, go to millionkids.org and buy a challenge coin, support us. But I want to go back to this sextortion thing because it's really fascinating. When I first started in the business, it really was individuals. And they're individuals that would do different things, okay? Sometimes they just wanted more photos because they were a pedophile and they wanted to be able to have something to drool over, okay? Sometimes they would share that with 2 or 3 of their friends. And sometimes they would come out and meet up. Some of you have heard me talk about the Patricia Alatorre case. Just a gorgeous 13-year-old girl, just gorgeous, vivacious, funny, cute, lived in Bakersfield. And she went online and hooked up with a guy from Inglewood. And I'm trying to think of his name right now. But anyway, he came from Bakersfield to see her. Somehow they were together. We don't know exactly. We do know it ended in oral sex before it was over. We don't know if that was a forced thing where she's being blackmailed or if she was like in a fantasy relationship with him. But whatever it was, the second time she actually got up from her bed in the middle of the night, which is not uncommon, Mom and Dad. I can give you probably 15, 20 stories off the top of my head of how kids snuck out in the middle of the night to meet this guy just to see what he's like, and their lives changed forever. In this case, she put her clothes under her bedspread, snuck out and saw him, and she ended up they heard her screaming at 3 a.m. from his pickup truck. And in that case, before it was over, they did find her body, and she had been strangled and raped. And her, in that case, her body was also burned. So these are individuals. There's another one I just did an insider alert on. If you sign up for Million Kids, you know about it, or in the supporters group. But it is Yu Vang. And Yu Vang had 1,100 victims. This is the reason why, Mom and Dad, if your child is involved in this, do not go online and alert the perpetrator that you know about that. Don't go on there and say, leave my kid alone, I'm going to the police. Do not do that. That is one of the worst things you can do. These guys almost never have only one victim. Your best bet is to take the phone. Do not delete the photographs, even if they're absolutely revolting, which they often are. Do not show those photos to everybody because that's your child's dignity. In fact, you may want to screenshot those photos so that you have a backup evidence. And then very quickly, take your child down to the cyber crimes unit. If you're in Riverside or San Bernardino, ask the police department for their cyber crimes unit. If you're in Riverside County, the Riverside County Sheriff has a cyber crimes unit that you can contact. And very quickly get a hold of them. Take your child and the photos so that the law enforcement can impersonate your child. Because if they can start that dialogue, they can begin to track out who this person is. And they can begin to make some sense of it because this person doesn't have only one victim. It wouldn't surprise me a bit here if we don't find out that Edwards had other victims. Maybe he didn't take it this far with them, but he probably had other victims. That's how this works online. And so that is what you do, is you take that photo and take your child and go to cyber crimes very quickly and take all the passwords, the names, everything that you can so that they can begin to stand in place of your child. And then get your child counseling. She or he, by the way, many guys, many more guys than you believe, get sextorted. And they have a tendency to brush it off. They're going, guys will be guys kind of thing. Don't go there. Pedophiles are pedophiles, and they don't care who they violate. And then get the victim, whether it's a male or female, counseling. And then I highly recommend getting the parent or the parent person that stands in place of the parent, if it's not a 2-parent household. Get your own counseling. It will affect you. I see this all the time when I work with, especially fathers who's had a daughter violated. They blame themselves that they weren't able to protect the girl, but they also blame the girl. I mean, she's out there, she's sending photos, That's all got to be worked through. And if there are younger children in that household, I know this is very disturbing, but I'm going to tell you, get them counseling also, because these things don't take place in private. They figure it out, especially if they're being blackmailed at school. That child is coming up in school behind them. On top of it, most of your webcams, such as in your video games and also on a lot of your dating sites, those live streaming webcams work both ways. And it's very likely that your younger children have been seen by this pedophile, and they will also need counseling. So my name is Opal Singleton. This organization is Million Kids, MILLION, millionkids.org. And I'd ask you to follow us on social media. We are up against that break, so please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you tired of eating at the same old restaurants? Let me tell you about a fabulous Italian restaurant we found in Riverside, Mamma Mia's Italian Restaurant. Their caprese salad is exquisite with candied balsamic glaze. All of their sauces are special recipes using only the best olive oils. The salads are fresh and healthy. They offer a wonderful array of pastas, including shrimp scampi, capellini, bolognese, and lasagna. They're famous for their gourmet pizza, and you can order online for takeout or have a special date for dining in with family and friends. Mamma Mia's caters special occasions and host private events. You have to try it out. Mamma Mia's Italian Restaurant, located at 10971 Magnolia Avenue in Riverside, 1 block north of La Sierra on Magnolia. That's Mamma Mia's in Riverside. Be sure to tell Michael, Alex, or Joseph you heard it on AM 590 The Answer.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
AM 590. The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton. We're talking about online sex crimes and online sextortion and social media exploitation. In this particular case here in Riverside, it was a catfishing case. It is almost always catfishing. Almost never are you really aware of who this person is. I think of all the different cases that I've trained on, and almost never does that child, meaning a 13, 14, 15-year-old girl or guy, are they able to really visualize who they're talking to, because they use all kinds of scenarios not to do that. I want to use my last session to talk about this situation with foreign national rings that are happening, because I really working with my board members to talk about what can we do this next year to get this message out. We're not hearing about it a whole lot. You hear about the border crisis, you hear about fentanyl, but this is like, the monster that comes into your child's bedroom or just simply enters your phone and changes your life and your child's life forever. And it's not a small thing. Okay, this is truly a pandemic, especially after the COVID thing. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children last year took 29.3 million reports of this stuff. Okay, that's 80,000 a day. If you don't consider that a pandemic, what do we call it? But the one that scares me, I normally share with parents, watch for changes of behavior. All of a sudden, your child is very secretive. They shut the door at their bedroom. They close their iPad. They maybe start borrowing somebody's phone, or they're not going to school, or they've stopped sleeping and their eating has changed, and maybe they're highly emotional or very shut down. All of those are signs that they maybe start running away, or if they start cutting. Oh my gosh, if your child's cutting, you need to stop in your tracks and get that child help immediately with someone who understands, especially online sex crimes. But one of the things that is happening that I just really feel the need to form a strategy, because this is a new thing. I started announcing it about 3 months ago, and I've been following it. And you can see it. I'll even show you at millionkids.org in our training sites. I'll show you these centers where the police are going in and shutting them down. One of them, it was in the Philippines, and they use all their teenage kids to literally blackmail our kids into sending them money, either through Bitcoin, because they have Bitcoin accounts in their gaming, or maybe through PayPal or Vimeo or one of those things. And literally, they will train their kids, and they have whiteboards where they keep score of how much money they made. And so this is really, really tragic for two reasons. One is those kids are good at tricking our kids. Guess what? They're kids also. They're teenagers. So they know the language. And so it seems like a legitimate relationship. On top of it, they know technology. I mean, most of your pedophiles, they won't know all the, Kik and TikTok and Tinder and Meet Me and all that stuff. Now, some of them do, but not all of them do. But you get overseas with their teenagers, they're talking the same lingo we are with our teenagers. And so this is all about those third world countries using their kids to trick our kids into sending money. And a lot of it. This is about money laundering for organized crime organizations in other countries. And they get absolutely ruthless. And this is why I'm asking you to follow Million Kids, so that you can see these stories and see how real they are. We had one girl, she was 18 years old. She was absolutely beautiful and smart. And she was a straight A student in a justice program, preparing for college. And they became so ruthless that she wrote a letter to her parents saying, I love you and I'm sorry to do this, but I cannot live with this anymore. And she took her own life. We're seeing, homecoming kings and football players and sports kids and very smart straight A student kids that very quickly, because they're so ruthless. I've spent a lot of time praying about what is the solution. Because, it's difficult to talk to kids about suicide because you don't want to trigger anything. But I think the key here is that we sit down with our kids en masse all across the nation, and we share with them the photographs, the videos of these telemarketing centers. And we explain to them, you think it won't happen to you. Every one of these kids thought it wouldn't happen to them. But what happens here now is, because we're a world without borders, is that you might be being blackmailed from the Ivory Coast, from Pakistan, and you will never know it. And so the name of the game is, don't ever send that first photo. Don't ever engage on a personal level with people you don't know, because this is going to be a whole new ball game where they're playing for keeps. We really are reaching a whole new level out there. This isn't just some pervert in his mom's basement anymore, and you think you're going to outsmart him. You are going up against organized crime who are absolutely ruthless. And the name of the game is, I don't send photos, and I don't engage in any kind of fantasy or sex talk with anyone I know, period. And we really got to get back to basics. The more I have kind of prayed this out, if you will, because I've spent my whole life trying to keep our kids safe from predators. And the more I think this out, the more that I think we've got to get the hard facts out to you, mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, pastors, teachers, all of you. And then we have to prepare so that we're ready, that we can sit down with our kids, we can show them the videos and make it very clear who they're up against and why they must not get engaged in that, because it's going to become ruthless. Well, this has been a hard show today, and I congratulate you. We're in a holiday period, but this case, this triple homicide, I don't know about you, but my heart bleeds for everyone involved. The fact that their lives were taken and so senseless, and now that young girl's life will be changed forever. And I guarantee you, would never have been able to visualize what was about to happen just based on that online hookup. But we're there, folks. This is not talking about the future. The future is now in this business, and we cannot wait any longer. We have to sit down and have those hard discussions with our kids. I don't believe you're going to be able to keep all technology away from your kids. I don't. Now, I do believe you can have some good conversation about what's healthy technology, but more important, I think we have to have those conversations about how do you live in a world without borders and a home without walls, where you're going to have interactions with people that you have never met, and every one of them's going to want to be your friend. And how do we prepare our kids to do that? And I really believe that's what is important. If you're interested in supporting our work, especially during this holiday season, we really, really appreciate it. If you want to support our work financially, please go to millionkids.org, millionkids.org. Don't go to .com. That's a rock band. So go to millionkids.org. While you're there, sign up for our newsletter. If you're on Facebook, please go to Million Kids Supporters so that you can get that inside information and just join the general i.e. Million Kids. We'd appreciate it. I'd also appreciate hearing from you if you're out there. You can do that at Opal, OPAL, at millionkids.org. Well, I have about a minute left. I want to give one more time that contact number for Detective Josh Ontko. That is ONTKO at the Riverside Police Department. His phone number, 951-353-7135. 951-353-7135. His email is JO N like never, T like Tom, KO, JONTKO at Riverside, CA.gov. Is that right? Yeah, .gov. Folks, I want you to have a happy Christmas. I want you to have a great time with your family. Put your arms around your family this Christmas. Put aside all those differences. If you want to give them a challenge coin, you can do that for Million Kids. I'd love it. But regardless of that, life is precious. We only have a certain amount of time on earth together. And it's so important that we overlook those nitpicking things and find the good in each other. I want you to put your arms around your kids this week, your spouse, look at them, let them know you love them, that you believe in them, that you're proud of them. Have a great week, folks. We'll see you next week.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited, Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited, Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer.